Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Barely There podcast. We are 4-Star Chicago Sports, and as always, I got my boys in the house, and we are on a merry Draftmas Eve. We got you covered from A to Z. What are the Bears doing? Who's popular? Who's moving? Who's up? Who's shaking? Stick around. Yeah. We got you covered right after that. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back into the show. We are locked and loaded as we are 1 day away. 24 hours. We will be sitting live at River Street Tavern at 102 North River Street, broadcasting live, getting our thoughts and your thoughts for whoever is joining us. And we're going to get into what's going to be going on in River Street in just a second. Let me say what's going on to Broski and Erica and Breaking News Bruce in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, because we have such a busy day, we got a lot of stuff. We're going to make this thing quick, concise, and simple for you. We're going to break it down, give you our opinions, and we're going to move this ship on till tomorrow, where we're going to be with you forever until the Bears pick. If they trade up, we're going to be there. They trade down, we're going to be there. They stay at 10, we're going to be there. We got you covered, man.
If they trade up to 1, the show's over. Right.
If they trade up to 1, Sean might have a coronary because we lost 50 picks. So Kyle's on mute. We can't hear him at the moment.
Sorry, Liz is coming in right now.
Really quick, guys, I'm just gonna get started because we got to move this bus along the road. So I'm gonna say, man, as I get into this, I am so excited to watch tomorrow because the first time in my freaking life as a Bears fan, I have no idea what's gonna happen with the Bears.
It's insane.
Not the slightest of clues. I don't think anybody from Ian Rappaport to Adam Schefter to Daniel Jeremiah have any idea what the Chicago Bears are doing tomorrow. But I can tell you this. The one thing I know they're doing is making a draft pick somewhere in that first round. Boys, how do you feel? Where's your headspace at right now as we're on Draftmas Eve?
I'll tell you what, it is Draftmas Eve because you don't know what's going to happen. You know there's going to be presents underneath the tree. Just what are you getting? You know what I mean? Are you getting the G.I. Joe guy? Are you getting the He-Man? What's going on? I don't know what's going to happen, and that probably does amplify the excitement, Sean, just like you said. What I really find intriguing, this being my first really, in-depth, I've always followed the Bears, but being on the podcast here at the Barely There cast, you guys have always been throwing out stuff that makes me think about something more. I watch some of the other Bears shows, which, by the way, if you guys aren't following, you should be watching those shows as well. Monday's show is great. There were some really great topics and arguments on offensive line versus running back versus tight end. I mean, those arguments actually get me excited as a Bears fan because it means that people are excited and interested in the Bears in a different way that we probably haven't been in recent years. We really want the Bears to do well. And what's really crazy is we have a new coach, a new staff. We don't know what their mindset is because there isn't any data. We know what polls does, but it's going to change now because of his coaching staff. So, we'll see once the aggregate is built up over years. Hopefully Ben Johnson is here for a very long time. But I think I don't know what they're going to do. One day they're going to stay at 10. Next time they're going to draft down. I definitely don't think they're drafting up or trading up. But, man, who knows? Kyle, I don't know what you're thinking, but if you're as confused as we are, I don't blame you.
Yeah, if this is Draftmas Eve, it'd be like, usually you ask your parents for a bicycle and then you walk downstairs and you're like, I can't wait to open up my bicycle. It'd be like asking your parents, it'd be like going up to your parents and being like, hey, just get me whatever you want to get me. And then you walk downstairs the next morning and you're like, I have no idea what this is or whatever. Usually the emotion is anticipation. The emotion this year is curiosity. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting draft. And it's not just for the Bears guys. I mean, if you start looking around the NFL, look at all these rumors, teams want to trade up, teams want to trade down. This team doesn't like this guy. You see almost every single one of these players in this draft has some some article written about him, about all the negatives. Now we're hearing Mason Graham has issues. We've heard it about Josh Simmons. We've heard it about so many guys in this draft. I have no idea how the top 10 picks in this draft are going to fall. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know, you guys. I don't know if you read this morning, but the Titans are even saying, we're not saying we're taking Cam Ward. Don't take that as a guarantee. We're not like, usually for a fact that first team's going to take that quarterback. I don't even think that's 100% this year. This is going to be all over the place, and I can't wait to get to it, guys.
Really quick, guys. I don't know if this has hit the news yet, but Mongo McMichael has just passed. So he is moving on to heaven. He's joining Walter. Hopefully they have a great reunion. But God bless his family. Thoughts out to Misty and the entire Chicago Bears family on this tremendous loss to our Bears community. Rest in peace, Mongo.
Sean, I heard today he was going to hospice, but he did officially pass away. He did.
Yeah, they said they were expecting it. I read the article this morning when they brought him to hospice. They said he's been unresponsive for about 10 days now, and they knew this was coming. They just didn't know when. They decided to bring him to hospice today, and it sounds like the move probably did him in. It stinks, man.
Yeah,
I'm not, obviously I wasn't alive when Mongo was playing football, but I've watched the highlights. I've watched interviews with him. The guy just seemed like he was a really good guy. He seemed like he was a fun guy. He seemed like he loved football more than the average player, and he's going to be truly missed by this fan base and by Chicago in general.
It's hard to see your childhood friend, like hero, not friend, sorry, but hero, go from this big monster, Mongo McMichael, to just this frail thing. Way too young, too, by the way, but he will be missed. Love Mongo. I think everybody in if you're a wrestling fan or a football fan, you love Mongo McMichael.
Yeah, and you talk about a guy who's one of the guys who set the tone for that team. That guy didn't give a shit about anything or anybody when he was on the field. He didn't care, man. Even in his interviews, he was like, "I don't care. If you're standing in front of me, I'm going to kill you."
Him and Dan Hampton used to go to the suburbs and find biker bars and get into fights on like nights after practice just because they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
dude, you get into a fight with those two dudes?
Yeah, I would not. I'd be like, "Do you guys have a back door?"
I want to thank Trax too. Trax texted us, let us know that. I don't know if it's at the mainstream media yet, but
well, he'll be missed.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, thanks, Trax.
And like I said, man, rest in peace, Mongo. He was a full horseman too, which for me, as a wrestling nerd, it was pretty awesome to see Mongo hanging out with Ric Flair and Arn Anderson and those guys, and we'll have a memory. We'll put something together for Mongo tomorrow.
Yeah, and shout out to Trax, man. I know Trax did a lot of work with Mongo and his wife and that family. So
yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate you breaking the news, Trax. Sorry to hear it, man. Sorry for your loss, brother.
All right. Well, that kind of sucks. Back to it. Really quick, I got to gather my thoughts because this sucks, dude. I'm about to cry.
You know what? He wasn't going to make. There was a point where they didn't think he was going to make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and he did. So if anything happened, he ended his life. I think in his mind, he had that full life experience.
No,
I'm sorry, guys.
He fought just like he did on the field, man.
It's like a loss to our of a family member, man. Kind of sucks, even though it was coming. But
are you Caleb Williamsing us right now?
I am, dude. I'm sorry. I just, hey man, it's part of he's a Bears brethren, man. Someone I grew up with.
Yeah, man, you cut us. We bleed orange and blue. It's a family, man. It's definitely family. It's a community. It's a culture, and we just lost a big chunk of that community, man.
For sure,
he was the man. He was.
Yeah.
He was the man. I've never heard a negative word spoken about him. Obviously, he's done some interesting things like starting fights at biker bars, but for the most part, I think that guy had a great heart, a big heart, and he was well respected around the NFL and around Chicago. So.
Just like a lot of those guys on that 85 team, he would come. If you said hello to him, he would stop and talk to you.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. I will talk to you. And there was a point in time where he was like one of the most famous people on the planet. So
we're losing 85 Bears, man. Too many of them. A lot of them
They're
too
old,
early,
bro.
too. Dave Durson. Walter definitely left us way too early. Mongo, I honestly didn't think Fridge would still be around with all of his health issues and the things that he has going on, but he's fighting through it. So
It's just crazy because you look at some of them and some of them look so healthy. Like
Yeah.
Tom Thayer looks like he's
Yeah.
45 years old, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Mike Singletary looks like he could play football still.
Yeah, he probably could.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's think about this.
Let's get into some of these rumors and some of this news, Sean.
Yeah, for sure. Let me regather myself here. Kyle, start us off. Start us off with the Colts, and give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so one of the articles that was published today, there's some rumors going around that the Colts might be willing to trade up with the Bears. They're at 14, the Bears are at 10. And the reason they're saying they would, or at least the experts are saying they would, is because they want one of those two tight ends. They want Colston Loveland or they want Tyler Warren. And the Bears would trade back. And I think in that article, they had the Bears drafting Calvin Banks at 14. But Jason, how would you feel if that happened? If the Bears and Colts traded and then they drafted Calvin Banks at 14, would you be happy with that?
I would, because number one, we're filling a need. And by the way, Kelvin Banks doesn't get enough credit, I don't think, from the media and from
I agree.
everybody, because he won the Lombardi Award, which is like the number one offensive lineman in all of collegiate sports. It's a pretty big award. It's not like he's I don't know if he's good or not. I will say this: I think Ryan Poles is he put on his chef hat and he's cooking. He really is a master at the game. Unlike some of our prior GMs, I think he knows that his 10 spot is something that it's a commodity. It can be traded. So he's fueling fire on, I like this guy, don't like that guy. Oh, I don't need a guard. I don't need a tackle. Darnell Wright can play right or left. I can do, he plays a cool cat, which is really good. And it's smart because what that does is it opens up the door for the possibility of a trade, and maybe it helps the value. Like, oh shoot, maybe they are going to take Genty, so maybe Dallas wants to trade up. I mean, I don't care if we trade down. I don't want to trade down into the second, but if we trade down, it's just going to be more picks for us. And in all honesty, past those first 4, 5, 6 guys, the comparisons are really close. There's a lot of guys that are equal in value on a lot of boards. So if we trade down and we get Kelvin Banks, great. We get a Josh Connolly, great. We get whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say,
give us more draft picks. Let's go.
I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, if the Bears, we've heard some rumors today, obviously, that the Bears are in love. Ryan Poles is in love with Josh Connolly. He thinks he's worthy of a 10th overall pick. I mean, but best case scenario for the Bears would be trading back to 14, 15, 16, 17. You still get your Josh Connolly, right? Probably not going to go before that. And then you just probably added one, maybe 2 more draft picks. I mean, listen, this Bears starting unit is a good competitive football team, especially with Ben Johnson at the helm. But when you look at the Bears team as a whole, if you look at the roster as a whole, they're not really deep at any single position on the field. I mean, think about it, guys. They don't have a deep wide receiver room. They don't have a deep running back room. They don't have a deep offensive line. They don't have a deep defensive line. We've talked about how they could still use a corner. Nobody knows what's going on with Jaquan Brisker. I mean, this team could literally add a player for every single unit on the team. So the more draft picks the Bears could add in this draft, if they can find a way to do that, the merrier. I'd be ecstatic if they could somehow pick up a 3rd or a 4th round pick.
We only had 4 picks last year, so we need them this year bad.
Yeah, that hurt them. That hurt the Bears bad.
Yeah,
that 4 pick draft killed them.
That nugget came out from Tony Paulina from Sportscadia, said that the Bears and Ryan Poles are in love with Josh Connolly. He has him ranked 19th on the big board. So he's saying, given the importance of the position, which it's probably one of the most important positions in the NFL, that taking him at 10, he does not think would be a reach. If they
so when I say reach, I mean like by the mainstream media, they would say it's a reach. But I mean, obviously, if Josh Connolly ends up being one of the best tackles in the NFL, or even a good quality starting left tackle for the next 10 years, obviously it's not a reach. I mean, like you guys have heard me say this a million times, the most important position on the field, the most important position in America. So if that's your blind side, you all know Caleb Williams is right-handed, so he can't see what's coming from behind him. If Josh Connolly is capable of protecting him for the next 10 years, that's not a reach in my mind by any means necessary.
And I also agree with Broski Bear here, because we've talked about this on our last couple shows. There isn't much difference as far as talent level after,
I agree with Broski as well.
That are here, so are the 6 blue chip players that are in this draft. I think that the talent level just becomes, there's good players, it levels off, and it'll be in this box.
It's like blue chip,
yeah, it's
great, good. Like it's after those top 10 picks, you're basically, that's what I said this on Monday, and maybe you'll disagree, Jason, but I think this draft, you're going to see a lot more drafting for position of need, because I just don't think there's that big of a difference where people are like, hey, we need a left tackle, but this running back is so good, we can't pass on him. I think the talent level is just, it's all pretty even across the board. When you look at those picks 11 through 40, like you're not going to see players draft position that they don't need because it's just a guy you cannot pass on, because I just don't think there's many of those guys in this draft. I just don't think they're there.
I agree with you. And what might happen is, guys, we all want to see, the Bears get more picks and trade down, but it also means that somebody has to trade up. It's very possible that there really aren't that many trades this year because everybody recognizes the value in the meat of the draft in day 2.
Yeah.
So day 2, you might see some trades, but day 1, you might not see very many.
Well, we're gonna move this along because Harrison Graham also broke this earlier today, that the Bears and Giants have been in some talks. The Giants are currently not on board with the Chicago Bears and what the Bears have offered. And apparently it was pick number 10 and 41 to them. They move up to 3 and they draft Abdul Carter. From what Harrison Graham is saying, the Giants would also like to add the Bears' first-round pick next season along with that. And for me, I just don't believe that Abdul Carter is worth that. I think he's going to be a good player in this league. He doesn't, for me, and you guys may feel different, he doesn't give me Myles Garrett vibes. I think he gives me good player vibes, not generational player vibes. And if he did, I would have no problem with this because Myles Garrett definitely changes the face of any defense that he's on by himself. I don't get that. And on top of that, the underlying injuries that he's coming into the draft with. So I really hope this is not true.
I mean, this guy's got a fracture in his foot, doesn't he?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's a big deal, guys. That's a really big deal. We've seen players who've had broken foots, and like look at Joel Embiid in the NBA. That's much less physical sport. That guy's been dealing with that foot injury for like 10 years now. Mm-hmm. It's when you're talking about knees, ankles, feet, and you're talking about sports, it's just not a good combination. It's like an oblique in baseball. It's just something that seems to linger and linger and linger. And listen, Sean, if the general consensus is that Abdul Carter is Myles Garrett, he would be the general consensus number 1. The Titans would be drafting him. They'd be drafting him. This wouldn't even be a conversation. Just like the Browns drafted Myles Garrett number 1. It wouldn't even be a conversation. I think he's kind of a little bit of a tweener. I'm not. That's no disrespect to Abdul Carter, because I think he's going to be a very good player in the NFL. I just don't know if people know exactly what he's going to be. Is he going to be an outside linebacker who's got a lot of range, a guy kind of like Micah Parsons, or is he going to be a hand in the ground defensive end like Myles Garrett? I think that remains to be seen, especially at his size in the NFL. But I certainly would not be giving away future first round pick for him. You don't know what's going to be next year's draft. Maybe next year's draft does have Myles Garrett, Sean.
It could.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. You would want a Lawrence Taylor at the defensive end position. That's the type of guy you would do that for if you're looking for a comp. Yeah. And I'm not saying that Abdul Carter is not going to be that. I will tell you this: a lot of times these first round picks don't pan out. Right? It's I would say almost as common as it is that they don't hit.
Yeah, Shane McClellan, Kevin White,
and then
Trubisky.
Well, you get guys in the second and third rounds or later first round that, guys that you're not really paying that close attention to, that wind up being perennial Pro Bowlers, that wind up being all pro, that wind up helping get a team to a Super Bowl. Those are the guys that you're really looking for. These general consensus I always love, because it's with draft analysts that are on TV. We don't really oftentimes get a lot of insight into what a draft room looks like, because they lock that stuff down like Fort Knox. They don't want anybody knowing what's going on. And I think the NFL, the teams as a whole in general, they know who all these players are already. They don't do 5 or 6 mock drafts, right? They've done, 1. They know. They might run through scenarios, but they know what these guys are worth. They may not know who's going to pick who, but they go to these GM meetings. They go to these owners meetings, and I think they have a pretty good idea of
Chris
who's
Williams
going to pick who.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dustin's just piling on the missed
Yeah,
first
Dustin
round
brings it.
picks here for the Chicago.
And you
Bears.
want to know the truth, guys. This is why the Bears haven't historically been a great team. You can't consistently miss on your first round picks and expect to be
No.
a great team.
I
So
can't.
the Bears, we're hoping. And what's going on, Dustin? Man, thanks for hopping in, bro. Just like I hope that
Dustin just keeps
Gabe
going.
Karimi, Roshan. Dude, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
Jesus.
I hope this is turning a new leaf to where the Bears are finally going to start hitting on these picks, because I think it's, obviously it's got to be the foundation. When you look at the good teams in the NFL, like just the recent Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're hitting on their damn picks, and it's giving them depth and consistency. They're letting players go that we're like, man, I wouldn't let that player go. But what are they doing? They're like, hey, no problem. We just got this guy. We're going to plug him in, and he's going to be an all-pro. And perfect example, Cam Jorgens. He went from a shit season to a Pro Bowler to a 4-year extension. That's exactly the success the Bears need to have out of this draft and moving forward, so we can sustain some success on the lakefront.
Hey, when was Matt Forte picked? 3rd round, right? 2nd round?
Well, yeah, and if you guys, if you look at
second all-time rusher in Bears history.
Yeah, I think Matt Forte was a
second round pick. Yeah, and if you look at these drafts, like every year at the end of the season, you see if we redrafted the 2024 draft, the guy who's picked first is rarely ever the guy who would be picked first. Like if you guys redrafted last year, where's Jared Verse?
Yeah,
defensive rookie of the
Probably
year. Where do you put him? Yeah, top 8, top 7, right? He fell to what, 15?
Yeah.
I mean, you just never know what you're going to get from these guys, and I certainly don't believe it's worth giving away a first-round pick to take that risk. They're all risks, right? Justin said this on the show many times. Every single guy in the draft is a risk because you don't know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. And another thing that really disappoints me when it comes to these draft experts is they're like, oh, yeah, I know that guy was a dominant player at the collegiate level, but he didn't jump that high at the combine. He didn't run as fast as we'd like. He wasn't making as good of cuts around those orange cones. Like, I don't give a shit. This guy put 3 years of film together that shows he's a dominant player in football. Obviously, he's much better on the field when he's in the face of adversity and he's playing football rather than when he's sitting in the underwear Olympics trying to jump and run and bench press and do all. It doesn't matter to me. What I look for, guys, is the guy when you watch a college game, you hear his name over and over and over and over and over again. Those are the players to me that if I was an NFL GM, those are the guys who would stand out the most. Mason Graham.
Kyle, you couldn't have put it any better. I don't think the teams and the scouts really give two shits about the underwear Olympics. I think what they're there for is meetings with these guys, those quick little meetings. I think they're there to see how maybe some of these guys handle certain situations. Oh, you know what? He ran a bad 40. He's going to run it again. Let's see what happens. That's what I think they're looking at. I don't think they care because they know on tape. They've watched hours, thousands of hours of tape.
Yeah.
They have teams of people doing that. They know who these players are. They want to get to know them better. They want to know their character. Hey, when you're facing adversity, can you pick yourself up? Or can you pick some, or is he walking over to the other guy and saying, hey man, you could do it. They know who he is on tape. And if that's the deciding factor, that's the guy you take. And that's why they're there. They really don't care if a guy runs a 2-second, 40. It's great. But, if he can't catch the ball, who cares how fast he can run?
Yeah, and Jason, can you imagine how stupid it would be to just take? You just said these guys watch thousands of hours of film, just taking all that work and all that time and just throwing it out the window because you're like, well, this guy didn't have very good vertical. I know we watched thousands of hours of tape, and he was amazing, but he doesn't jump that high. Like that's absolutely ridiculous to me that any GM in the NFL would go to the combine and be like, well, we had this guy number 1 on our list, but we're going to drop him down to 30. Like that, then you don't know what you're doing, and that's a bad GM in the NFL.
Yeah. He stumbled on his 3-cone drill. Who cares?
I don't care. I don't care. I want to see what he does with pads on Sunday. That's
the underwear Olympics, always ruining people's draft dreams.
Hey, we got a new guy in here, Sean.
I did. There's a couple new guys in here. Scrolls, Bear Weather takes.
What's up, Scrolls?
I really appreciate y'all, and this is one of the rumors that I wanted to get to. The Bears trading up to 5 with the Jacksonville Jaguars and taking Genty. And he is correct. There are plenty of credible sources reporting this. As of right now, my personal belief is I believe that's a smokescreen. I think the Bears would be foolish to give up their draft capital for Genty, especially when you're in what people are saying a generational running back draft stacked with talent. If he were to fall to us at 10, I would be okay with that if they took him there. But if I'm giving up 39 or 41 and a pick next year to move up to get Genty, that's just not in my playbook. And for me, that cake just doesn't bake, man. I'm sorry. We need these picks and we need to build this roster. So I'm hoping we are not trading out of picks.
I will tell you this,
real quick, Jason.
Okay.
Bearweather takes the scrolls and Osmonic. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. We appreciate you so much. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Please keep putting stuff in the chat here, guys. We try to get to as many of these comments as we possibly can. Really appreciate you guys joining us, man.
I got a fact
and Illinois Jones and Breaking News Bruce.
Yeah, and really quick, Jay, Illinois Jones, I'm with you. I might have to take a break from podcasting if they make this move. I'm with you.
I'll tell you what. Here's why I think they won't, and I'm just going to give you some history here. In the last 25 years, there's been only one team that has traded up in the top 10 picks or to get into the top 10 picks to draft a running back. That is Cleveland, who drafted Trent Richardson, whom they next year traded away because he sucked. Teams don't do it. If it was common practice, they would do it. Running backs have great value, but even in a non-deep running back draft, you can find guys in later rounds that can suit your needs. In this particular draft, we are very deep in running back talent. We're not going to trade up for Genty. I don't even see the Bears trading up one spot to get Genty. It's just not necessary when you can get another great talent for lesser value. That is the value. You got to remember, these guys are running a business too. They don't want to just throw away their first round pick. They want all these draft picks have numbers and values, like an actual value attached to them. It's basically like an NFT when you really want to think about it. And if you're going to trade up for a position, a tight end or a running back that isn't necessarily a premium position anymore in the NFL, you're wasting your pick. Now, if you want to trade down and get or let somebody else trade up to get them, go right ahead. But you're going to do edge rusher, quarterback, maybe wide receiver if he's, a super stud, but you're really not going to trade up for anybody else.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jason, because remember the Lions 2 years ago traded out of the top 10 to draft Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah. They could have drafted him at what? I think they were at 6. They traded back to 11, 12 and drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, and they knew the risk of him being gone when they got to 11 or 12. They knew that was a possibility, but they still made that move anyway, and Jahmyr Gibbs ended up being one of the best players and one of the most dangerous weapons in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, and they could have stayed at 6 and drafted Bijan Robinson. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You see how it has to be. It's the question is not whether or not you think that player is a good player or worth that pick. The question is how big is the difference between that player and the next player available at his position? That's the question.
It's a value.
What's the difference between Ashton Gianti, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quidcon Judkins? What's the difference between these guys? Is it worth trading away half your draft to move up to 5 and draft Ashton Gianti when you still have a chance to draft Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, we know Sean loves, Judkins, Dustin loves, Travion Henderson, Brennan loves. There's especially in this draft that's so
Caleb Johnson,
deep
there's tons of guys.
Yeah, that would be for me particular, especially with this year, with this being one of the deepest running back drafts we've ever seen. That would be a huge mistake for the Chicago Bears. Now, listen, if the Bears are there at 10 and Ashton Gianti falls to 10,
sure,
and Ben Johnson thinks that's his guy, then go get your guy. Sure, I trust Ben Johnson. He knows what he needs to make this scheme work. If that's what you think you need, then go get him. But don't trade up future draft picks.
And guys, much like Illinois or Brusky Bear just said, if you guys would like to see my head spontaneously combust if this trade were to happen, come join us tomorrow at River Street Tavern, 102 North River Street in East Dundee, Illinois, where we will have our annual 50-50 raffle, our annual draft party. And we just got, as promised, some more stuff for you guys. Yesterday,
tons of cool stuff, guys.
We had big fudge breaks stop in and drop off a couple generous donations. Thank you, Zach, very, very much. He dropped off this awesome autographed Dan Hampton helmet. He dropped off this awesome Cole Kmet autographed football to go along with this awesome Dan Hampton Super Bowl pick, this Charles Tillman autograph, this DJ Moore touchdown catch. We have a couple of sets of Cubs tickets for you guys. We also got Santos. We got Briggsy. We have autographed DJ Moore helmets. Everybody gets a prize. So get out to 102 North River Street and come see us at River Street Tavern. We're going to jump into the crowd. We're going to get your reactions.
All for charity. All for charity.
And really quick, this is how you get this. We have these wonderful little raffle tickets, and all you have to do is put down $1, $5, $10, $20, whatever you feel is right and fits your needs. So one ticket for $5, 3 for $10, 6 for $20, and with the $20 you get a bonus ticket. So we'll throw you one for free. And remember, it is all going to charity. We're splitting it up with Bears Care. Going to have a blast out there. We hope to see some of you guys tomorrow at River Street Tavern, 102 North River Street.
Yeah, and let's real quick. I want to get to this Broski comment. He says, "I don't trust Ben Johnson yet. He needs to prove he can be a legitimate head coach, and he hasn't proven anything yet. But don't you agree, Broski, that in order for him to have the best chance possible to prove that he can be a legitimate head coach, you have to give him the players he wants to run his system? Like if you're trying to force these players onto him that don't fit his scheme or his system, then it's probably not going to look as good. And listen, I understand, Broski, that he has to build his offense around the talent that's here, right? But now they're going into a draft, and he's got kind of a clean slate for this 2025 draft. At least try to give him some of the players that he kind of fit his needs, kind of fit that offensive scheme.
Agreed.
I think they should be trying to help each other out, right? Ben Johnson try to help Ryan Poles make these past draft picks look as good as they possibly can, and Ryan Poles should try to help Ben Johnson get the players he needs here to run his scheme.
And to this point, if you pay attention to what they said out of Detroit, Ben Johnson's fingerprints were all over the offensive players that were drafted. He wanted Gibbs. He built that offensive line. This isn't me making it up. This is actual fact. This is from Dan Campbell. He's touched on it. His handprints were all over what created one of the best offenses in professional football in Detroit. And really quick, Illinois Jones, we are going to do this for you guys that can't make it. I got a couple of things that I haven't showed the world yet that we're going to do an online giveaway for our chat members that can't make it. It's in the works. We're talking about it, and it'll be coming up really
Yeah,
soon.
and that Illinois Jones, that will probably be a usual thing at some point here.
Yes.
We're just trying to right now we're focusing on all of our social media venues, trying to get our website together. But I promise you guys, in the future, there will be incentives for watching the show. We appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much for joining us. The Scrolls says we draft the best QB and wide receiver in last year's draft. Getting the best running back in this year's draft is how you become the 90s Cowboys. So he likes Ashton Jeanty a lot. And like I said, Scrolls, I'm not against Ashton Jeanty. I think he's going to be a very good player. Right. I guess it depends on what they're asking, like what the Raiders would be asking for at 6 for you to move up. I just think this team has a lot of holes right now. Like I said, I don't believe they're deep at any particular position group on the field. Right now, before you become the 90s Cowboys, try to be the last couple of years Eagles. Try to build this team as deep as you possibly can.
Be the 25 Bears.
Here, I'll say this about the 90s Cowboys. If you go look, they had 5 Pro Bowlers on their offensive line.
Pre-salary cap.
They were that offensive line that Emmitt Smith had to run behind was probably one of the greatest offensive lines ever assembled in football.
It might be the best offensive line ever assembled.
So the Bears have some work to do in that aspect of things. Like I said on Monday, I think what they did on the offensive line was a great start, but I think that's just what it was. It's a great start. You have questions with Jonah Jackson. You have questions with Drew Dahlman, not about their skill level, about their ability to stay on the field for a whole season. I like the moves that they made. I like that Poles short up the line. I don't dislike these players, but you also can't disregard their medicals and their past history of missing football games. So that is a concern for me. So in this draft, I would really like to shore a couple of backup spots, maybe later in the draft, get some skill positions early with your first couple picks. But I'm saying starting as soon as the 3rd round, you're drafting.
Well, Sean, and it sounds like the Bears are thinking that way as well, because if you go look at their top 30 visits, their combine visits, their work or pro days, a lot of offensive linemen on that list, and I love it. I mean, you guys,
Yeah.
the Bears have ignored this offensive line for far too long. It's bit them in the butt time and time again. The Bears are the only team in the NFL whose quarterback has been sacked 50 plus times over the last 4 seasons. And yes, sometimes that's Justin Fields or Caleb Williams holding onto the ball too long. But for the most part, it has not been a good offensive line here in Chicago for a very long time. It's time to fix the offensive line. Football is still won in the trenches, guys. It's the same as it was in 1926. They have to make sure this offensive line can protect Caleb Williams, make sure he can develop in this brand new system, probably going to be under center more than he's ever been in his entire life combined. Because remember, he didn't play under center in high school either. So it's going to be
Under
a tough
center
transition
means
for Caleb
left guard,
Williams.
left tackle is even more important.
Yeah. It's going to be. He's already got a strike against him. It's going to be a tough transition for him. So go get him as much help as you possibly can.
And you know what? You guys couldn't be more right, because if you pick up, let's say, a left tackle at 10, or you draft down and you trade down, and you pick up another one, that doesn't mean Braxton Jones is off the team forever. Maybe Braxton Jones now is your swing tackle.
Yeah, that's an amazing swing tackle. That's an amazing backup tackle. That's a guy who has 3 years NFL starting experience as a swing tackle. That couldn't be any better situation for the Bears.
Jay and I were talking about this yesterday, and I feel this way. I don't know where you guys are with it, but I think Braxton Jones would be a phenomenal guard. I think he would fall right into the type guard.
Yeah, maybe he could be that versatile backup for every position, 1 through 5, right?
Maybe I think he could be a starting guard. I think he would be a damn good guard, personally.
Sean, like you said, we all know Jonah Jackson's had health issues. They're right now. Bill Murray's their only backup guard that I can think of. Right? I don't know. There's probably another guy on there that's probably a practice squad type player. But yeah, you'd like to have 2 legitimate starting backup guards and at least 1 or 2 starting backup tackles. I mean, like I said, not starting, but if they did start, they'd be at the bottom of the barrel in the NFL, but they'd be one of the best backups in the NFL. If like Braxton Jones right now, what do you guys rank him? What, the 17th, 18th, 19th best starting left tackle in the NFL?
At best, yeah, he's right in the mid.
You replace him with one of a top 10 left tackle in the NFL, he becomes one of the best backup tackles in the NFL, solely just based off of the starting experiences he's had, especially on this Chicago Bears.
And now you have depth and trade bait. I mean, it's a win-win in my mind.
Yeah, and then you don't have to pay him $20 million a year next year.
As we're going to keep this thing rolling here, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts really quick, because there's a strong rumor out there as well. I don't know if the chat's heard it or not, but the Saints and the Broncos have been talking where the Broncos would move up to 9, select Ashton Jeanty if he's available. The Broncos would then move back to 20 and look to either get Shedeur Sanders and or Jackson Dart. I think for the Broncos, I think for both teams, I think this would be phenomenal. It would take Ashton Jeanty away from the Bears, so it would suck for us if that's who we want at 10. Hopefully Tyler Warren would be there, and then I'd get my guy at 10. But what would you guys feel if Sean Payton and the Broncos snuck up and stole Ashton Jeanty right from the Bears' grasp?
Wouldn't bother me one bit. I mean, that's probably going to happen. I mean, that's
of all the rumors, this is the one that I could see being the truest of the bunch. I mean, he wants his Alvin Kamara. Oh, Sean Payton wants his. Eventually, he's going to get him. And if he believes that Ashton Jeanty is that guy, I would not be surprised at all if the Broncos trade in the top 10. Would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form, Sean. And we've heard that
better for the Bears. That means that weird things are happening, and maybe one of their guys is now open that they thought might not be.
Yeah. I agree. I'd like to see as many strange picks in the top 9 as we possibly can. Like what, Calvin Banks at 4? Nobody saw that coming. I would love it. Because then one of those playmakers is falling to you at 10. And Sean, if it's Tyler Warren, that guy could help kill Caleb Williams.
And I wanted to
so many different ways.
You, Kyle, because you brought this up on Monday. And Todd McShay on the Todd McShay show today says that from his sources, the New York Jets will be drafting a defensive player at 7 rather than selecting Tyler Warren or offensive lineman Armand Membu based on the information he's heard. This was on his show this afternoon. So, Kyle, you kind of hit that on the head on Monday when you said, hey, these guys have only looked at defensive players. They're not bringing in offensive players. Aaron Glenn's a defensive head coach. So it seems, and obviously we'll see tomorrow, but it seems as though it looks like that could be the place where if Mason Graham falls a couple spots, if it's between Mason Graham and maybe Shamar Stewart, maybe they take Graham and leave Stewart on the board.
You guys go look back at the drafts historically. First-year head coaches generally draft what they're comfortable with, right? So Aaron Glenn is a defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. He is now the head coach of the Jets. he probably, like we just said, we were just talking about how Ben Johnson is an offensive coach. He came here. Now he has to get the players he needs to run his scheme. The same could be said for Aaron Glenn. Like that guy is a defensive genius, right? At least that's what the Jets believe. So if you want him to build one of the best defenses in the NFL and run his scheme and make it as perfect as he possibly can, you have to go let him get those defensive players that he needs to run that type of scheme, right?
Yeah.
The offense will come second for them. You guys go look at their top 30 visits. The Jets have visited with a lot of defensive players, a lot of defensive players. I wholeheartedly expect the Jets to draft a defensive player at number 8. I don't know who it's going to be, Sean. I have no idea. I don't know. It could be Shamar Stewart. It could be Michael Williams. It could be if I'm them, I'm drafting Jahad Campbell.
Here after 1, 2, or 3, I don't know what the hell's happening tomorrow. I'll be honest.
Well, there's a rumor that maybe the Titans don't even take Cam Ward at 1. Who the hell knows?
I saw that this morning too. I
think that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah,
but I saw.
Sean, if they fall in love with Jackson Dart, would it surprise you if they were like, "Hey, you come up, take Cam Ward, we'll take Jackson Dart at 11 or 12."
Or maybe they trade down. Maybe they say, "Okay, you know what? Yeah, you guys can have Cam Ward. We want Jackson Dart, and we'll get him at 14."
Yeah. Yeah, well, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And they're going to, and if they go from 1 to 14, Jay, they're getting a absolute haul.
How do you think the Bears got Caleb Williams, DJ Moore? I mean,
if somebody's coming up that high to draft Cam Ward, I'm sure the Titans would be like, "We'll take it." 3 first-round picks, we'll take it.
And Skrulls is here, man. He seems like Paul's already had the deal in place with the Jags for Genty. That's why Paul's evil grin was about, and that's why Genty was in Green Bay today, taking shots at the city. I mean, hey, Skrulls, if you're right, you're going to hear me scream from 102 North River Street in East Dundee, Illinois, when we give up this draft for Ashton Genty. He better be Walter Payton. That's all I have to say, because you're really, really hurting your chances to add to this roster and develop by trading away multiple picks. Not to mention, this isn't the trade for the number 1. That was with the Patriots, correct? That was with the Giants, excuse me. So, I mean, if it's 10, 41, and a third rounder next year, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
To me, it's very, you guys.
What's up, Brando?
Making a move like that and trading away draft capital to go get a guy like Ashton Genty, to me, that is the move that kind of like the Eagles made last year with Saquon Barkley. He's got to be like that last piece to get you over the mountaintop and get you to a Super Bowl victory. The Bears are not even close. I'm sorry, guys.
I love this team.
Yeah, I think this team's going to be competitive. I think it'll be a good football team, but they are not a Super Bowl talented roster. They just don't have that talent on the roster. So for me, Ashton Genty would be like the last piece you're missing, the cherry on top to take you to a Super Bowl. The Bears aren't close enough to make that move. They're not close enough to a Super Bowl. And Sean, you played that I forgot what podcast it was, where he says, "Hey, if you're going to draft a running back, you better be damn sure you're pretty close to a Super Bowl, because you want to waste the first 3 years of his rookie contract on a bad football team. This team is not close enough to winning a Super Bowl." And of course, Ben Johnson's going to say that, "Oh, it's a win now mentality. I think we're good enough to win a Super Bowl," because he can't come out and say anything otherwise, guys. He's not going to come out and be like, "We suck. This team needs a lot of work before we're even talking about competing for a championship." You can't say that. That's just all about saving face. That's all it is.
5-win team.
I'll be honest. I agree with Dustin 100% here. Those 2 second-round picks are going to be crucial to this construction in future.
Yes. They're really close. 39 and 41, guys. That's really awesome.
And Sean called me this morning about this potential trade and giving away draft capital. And the first thing I said to him is, "Sean, if in 2 years we're giving Caleb Williams $500 million, you need as many of these cheap rookie contracts as you could possibly." I wish we had 10 picks in the draft, because all these guys, you're not going to be signing guys in free agency for hundreds of millions of dollars if you pay Caleb Williams $500 million.
Well, how much more do we need to be comfortable, Skrulls? We just touched on that just a little bit, man. You're 1 injury away, 2 injuries away on this line, which could happen very easily anytime during this very tough season that the Bears are going to have ahead of them. And you're right back to one of the worst offensive lines in the league. If you believe if these backups were that good, they wouldn't be backups. It's time to get some young talent. These guys have been on this team. We've seen what they have. Their floor is where they are.
Yes, we're talking about, you guys, we're talking about getting backups in this draft that are being groomed to be starters in the future. When Jonah Jackson gets injured again, or when Joe Tooney decides he needs to retire because he's 34 years, 35 years old. Then you can plug and play these guys who have been sitting on the bench for 2 years to be starters. We're not talking about just drafting depth. We're talking about drafting the future of the organization. That's what we're talking about. And that's what good teams do.
Every pick is a value proposition. It's not just about the player. It's about what its value is and what it means for the team and what it means for the future of the team.
Kyle said this great the other day. It was a great statement, and I'm going to say it again because I agree with him wholeheartedly on this statement. If you think you've done enough on that offensive line, then do more.
Do more.
Keep going.
Yes.
Do more.
Keep going.
If you think you've done enough to help Caleb Williams get to a point where he can learn this offense and become a franchise quarterback in the NFL, do more. Give him more. Make it so that it's almost fail safe. That's what you guys, Bears have never had a franchise quarterback. Don't you guys want to see 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns? I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I just want to see it.
I'd like to know that if we're moving or if there's an injury, I have someone coming in that is going to be just as good as that guy, like a Donovan Jackson. You know, I heard Gray Zabel's going to go in between 12 and 18, so he's off the board. Or a Josh Connerly if he's not starting. The interesting thing was, though, Will Campbell came out today and said, if the Chicago Bears draft me, they have told me I will be their left tackle. That tells you a lot of what you need to know about where they are with Braxton Jones, in my opinion. So, I mean, if they're telling Will Campbell, hey man, if we move up and we get you, or you fall to 10, we draft you, you're a starting left tackle. I mean, Braxton Jones will have a job.
Or he's the swing tackle, like I said before, which is fine. You've basically just drafted your left tackle of the future and built in, because of your prior draft pick, depth. That's the whole point of the draft, is not because remember, guys, everybody you draft isn't going to start every year. You still need depth guys. You need guys that are going to be coming in. You need guys that are going to develop. Most of these offensive line contracts and these free agent signings, they're all 2-year contracts. So in a year, we're going to be looking for these guys anyways. So to say that we're set on offensive line is just patently untrue. We have a lot of work in my mind still left to do, both on offensive and defensive line. So I don't necessarily need to pick a tackle at 10, but if you get a defensive tackle or a great edge rusher in the first round, great. That's also great. I think offensive or defensive line is what you pick in the first round. If there's nothing else available, if Genty falls to us, we pick a Genty, great. Then do their second and third and whatever. We can get those guys later. Because if you look at their top 30 visits, they were very, very thorough. They were looking at guys that might be there in the 6th round, 7th round, those later rounds. So they're thinking about all possibilities. But you cannot deny that we must get trenches. We must.
Yeah,
we have to.
And to touch on what Dustin said here, you can't make everything perfect for him. He's supposed to carry more water. Well, we saw it not be perfect last year. And how'd that work out?
Yeah, now he's learning a brand new system. Like Dustin, if this was his second year in the same system, I totally get it. He should be more comfortable, but he's about to be severely uncomfortable. He's about to do something he's never done his entire life in the NFL. He's about to learn how to play under center in the NFL against the best in the world. And Brandon says here, it makes life a lot easier for a quarterback to have a stud running back. Listen, it doesn't have to be a stud running back. It has to be a good run game. Who are the Kansas City Chiefs stud running back? Kareem Hunt? They went to a Super Bowl last year.
Isaiah Pacheco.
They went to a Super Bowl last year. It doesn't have to be a stud running back. It has to be a really good run game. That's it. It could be by committee. It could be by committee. It doesn't matter. And I understand that the other side of that argument is people are going to be like, yeah, but Saquon Barkley. Well, that's because Jalen Hurts is not as good as Patrick Mahomes is. And like that, Dustin, that's exactly what you're talking about. Patrick Mahomes makes everybody around him better. He does. But Patrick Mahomes has also been in the same offense for 5 years now.
Is he the same quarterback if he didn't sit? Is he the same quarterback if he didn't go to Kansas City? If he goes to the Bears, do you think he's
no?
Yeah.
You think if Patrick Mahomes got drafted by the Bears, he's won 3 Super Bowls? No, absolutely not. Yeah. Absolutely not. It's going to take a minute for this transition, guys. It's going to take a while.
Welcome back to James Kelfier, because we haven't seen you in a little bit. So welcome back to the show, buddy. And Mr. Maxwell, I haven't seen you before. So welcome to the show, my friend. Appreciate you checking us out on this fine
Thank you, everybody.
Evening, I should say. I was about to say afternoon.
It is afternoon.
It is afternoon. And guys, I mean, unless there's another rumor, we're kind of up against it today because we have a meeting we have to get to a little bit early today and continue to get ready for tomorrow, which is very, very important. Should we, how do you guys want to do a mock? How do you want to run the mock? Do you want to just do a Bears draft at 10?
We could do like auto and then see what the Bears are at 10 and then do a second and third round and then just call it
let's
there.
just do the top 3 picks, Sean. I mean, or the top 4 picks. Obviously, we don't have a 4th round pick, so let's do the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd rounds.
And and Broski Bear is agreeing with us. So, and I agree. The offensive line, as it is, functional unit on day 1, if healthy, I think will be super solid. But once you start picking players off,
what's up, Mr. Maxwell? Thanks for joining us, man. Sorry, Sean.
You're only as strong as your weakest link. And if you start putting a bunch of weak links in that chain's going to fall apart like it did last year. So,
yeah, Sean, it's not if they get injured, it's when, because the Bears haven't had a fully healthy offensive line from start to finish of the season since 2009, guys. Since 2009. Look at the roster the Bears have right now. Drew Dahlman has missed big chunks of time. Jonah Jackson has missed big chunks of time. Braxton Jones got hurt last year. Jonah Wright missed a couple games last year. Joe Thuney is the only guy on this line that you expect to be here for all 17 games. And that's not a guarantee either. He's 33. He's going to be 33 years old, guys.
For Dustin, guys don't need to be in the perfect situation to be successful. Well, how did CJ Stroud look after his rookie year when his line fell apart on him last year? He looked like shit. And we were all like, this guy's never going to be on my fantasy team again because he couldn't stay upright. That was on his offensive line that let him down. And, games are won in the trenches, dude.
Sean, that's a perfect example. It's not even his offensive line. It's they lost Nico Collins. They looked a lot worse than they did with Nico Collins. They lost Tank Dell. They looked a lot worse than they did with Tank Dell. You have to be deep at every position to win a Super Bowl in the NFL, guys.
Hey, I'll do you one better. We talked about this, or Dustin pointed it out earlier, but we talked about this, Sean, I think the other a couple weeks ago. Leonard Floyd, how was he with the Bears? Really not that great. He moved on to a much better team and a much better staff, and the guy's been like a perennial Pro Bowler. He's getting double-digit sacks every year.
Yeah.
So, yes, situation and team does fucking matter.
Bears fan for life. Will get
better build a damn good team.
Hey, we love all you guys, man. This is great banter. Absolutely love it. You guys are the all-stars of the show in the chat. We love you guys so much. Thank you again for joining us. Everybody, Broski Bear, Bears fan for life, Illinois joins Mr. Maxwell. All of you, Dustin, Brandon, Breaking News, Bruce, Broski Bear.
Dante Purifies new.
Yeah, and remember, guys, unless you're talking about statistics, sports is all opinions.
Scrolls.
That's all it is. Unless you're talking about statistics, this is all opinions. And we're obviously not all going to have the same opinions, or this wouldn't be very much fun now, would it?
If we were 100% accurate, we wouldn't be on a small little podcast.
Yeah, we'd be on ESPN right now, even with our ugly faces. All right, Sean, you ready to get into this mock draft?
I did 3 rounds. Not all. 3 rounds, just the Bears. We're going to go to 72. Let me share this bad boy. Hold on.
Let's do it.
Why am I not? Oh, there it is. I can't see you boys anymore. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, we can see it.
Can you see?
Let's get rid of the
runner on the bottom.
There you go. No, you guys can see the draft board?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm entering the room right now, and we're leaving it at 10, correct?
Sean, turn randomness all the way down. Or at least pretty close to the bottom, because like when Tyler Warren going first overall, it doesn't make for a very good one.
Well, that's the only thing it lets me do, right?
All right, yeah, that's as low. Yeah, just do it as low as it can go. Yeah, like that. That's fine.
Low. All right, here we go. Draft for needs is up. Care for positional value. And then the public versus PFF board is completely down. So we'll try it this way. We should have time for 2. It's only 3 rounds. All right. Start the draft. All right. The Bears are on the clock. So what happens?
And Mason
Graham is there. That's your answer.
Graham is available.
That's it.
You guys, if I'm the Bears at 10, is Ashton Jeanty gone, I'm assuming?
Ashton Jeanty went to the Patriots at 4.
Yeah. You guys, if I'm the Bears and Mason Graham is there at 10, I'm taking Mason. Illinois Jones.
You know what I find interesting, Kyle and Jay, about this?
What?
Was that 2? Oh, that's only 2. There's 2 left tackles in the top 8. Or no, right tackle and left tackle. 3 tackles, 6, 7,
3
and 8.
tackles back to back to back.
There's a lot of teams in the top 10 that still have offensive line needs. All teams do, because all teams have injured players. That's why Brandon and me and Sean are constantly yelling at you guys saying offensive line is that important.
So Tyler Warren's there too. Would you want to go Mason Graham?
Mason Graham for sure. I think he has a much bigger impact.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, this would be the second time in 5 years the Bears have passed up on the best defensive tackle in the draft. That might shatter some souls.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I know everyone would be pretty upset. I'm still on to Tyler Warren. I mean, here's Josh Connolly.
Now you got your Josh Connolly.
Oh my God, this is the best mock draft we've ever seen. Josh Connolly's still there in the second round. Not going to happen.
Let's go look at our running back situation.
Oh, Caleb Johnson's still there.
Oh, Caleb.
I mean, this is
the best.
72.
This is the best mock draft. Omar Norman Lott's still there.
What?
Lott's still there. Demetrius
Sean, you got to take Lott.
Makuba.
I know, but look at Lott's. Look at what's Lott's rank. Look at Lott's rank compared to we're picking at 72. He's ranked the 34th best player in the draft.
All right, we did it.
That value. We better get an A++ for this one.
It better be A+,
A+, A minus.
Johnson was a D+.
Yeah, because they had Travion Henderson ahead of him, but we got an A on this draft, guys. If the Bears come out of this draft with that right there, I will be ecstatic. Mason Graham, Josh Connolly, Caleb Johnson, and Omar Lott.
I would be really happy.
The only thing is we probably should have taken somebody besides Norman Lott because we already drafted a defensive tackle. But I mean, the value, just look at that. I mean, this guy was projected the 34th best player in the draft, and we got him at 72.
But you know what? You got younger on
draft him and trade him.
And you got younger on your defensive line, and you still walked away with the stud run. I love this.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about that's a big chunk of the future of your team right there, guys.
Tackles rotate. You need like 4 or 5 defensive tackles, by the way. You can't just go into it.
All right, we're going to do this again. Should we make a trade?
We can trade down. Let's try one. We can probably do another 2
I don't think Judkins was there, Dustin. Was he there? I don't think Judkins was still available.
If he was, he wasn't ranked that high.
Yeah, if he was way down the list.
Let's pick a trade partner, select a team to trade with. Let's go to the Indianapolis Colts in 14. So we would give them 10. We would get 14 and say 80. For 10 and 148.
Well, Sean, you probably don't even have to give them 148. You could probably give them a pick next year. I'm sure they would take this.
All right, we'll give them round 3 next year. Offer trade. It's accepted.
Trade accepted.
Giddy up to draft. All right, we're down at 14.
Oh, Dustin says
interesting guy. Membo is there, but I know you guys aren't big on him. Mike Green's got some sexual.
Sean Barron's still there.
I like Johnny Brown. Barron.
What is the chat saying? Because I can't see you guys.
So
yeah, you know what, chat? You guys make this pick.
Yeah, nobody's putting it. You guys, the chat. We have Walter Nolan available. Malachi Starks, Membo still available. Mike Green's still available, although he's dealing with some legal troubles, so he might fall.
I kind of like Barron.
Jahdae Barron and Luther Burden are still available. Sean, keep scrolling down for us. Josh Simmons is still available, left tackle. Egbuka is still there. Kenneth Grant is still available. That would be an amazing pick.
Can I say this?
Calvin
really
Banks is still available.
Wow.
The one guy in the second round that I would not like to leave without, unless he goes late in the first, is Kenneth Grant. I absolutely love this guy.
I don't think Kenneth Grant's making it to the second round.
I don't think he is either, man. His draft stock has jumped so much. I would be okay taking Kenneth Grant at 14, to be honest with you.
So Sean Thomas says Membo. Bears Fans for Life says Kenneth Grant. Breaking News Bruce says Josh Simmons. Justin Jones says Nolan. Well,
you got a couple of Nolans.
You got 2 Grants now, Sean.
2 Simmonses, 2 Grants.
2 Simmonses.
All right. We'll take Kenneth Grant. We'll take Kenneth Grant. See where that takes us. We got is that the most, or is Walter Nolan?
Dustin says Banks or Nolan.
Banks.
Sean, who do you like better? You like Kenneth Grant or Walter Nolan? Who do you like better?
Oh,
I'd say Walter Nolan's probably your best available player.
He's the best available player, but I don't know, man. I think that's close, man. Walter Nolan's a beast, though.
Sean, can I see his draft profile real quick?
On who?
Walter Nolan. I know who he is. I know a lot about him. I just want to see it.
That's
Can you do
pretty good
first?
grades there,
Sean,
guys.
Can you do first look? Thank you.
Yeah. 6'3", 295, so a little undersized. His upper body's incredibly strong. Helps throwing off blockers, crash through double teams because of that. He's an impactful run.
It says he's
defender.
not the most polished interior defender, but he's probably the most physically gifted. Yeah, I'm fine with taking Nolan over Grant.
Hold on, really quick, since we got a couple minutes. Let's go look at what they say about Kenneth Grant here.
Brings a rare
6'3",
combination of quickness and
340.
size. The nose guard.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna side with Grant. My choice is Grant.
Says his hand speed can match his lower body quickness, but not always.
It says
I
here
think
at
he
the
just got outshined by Graham. I think
You
he's
guys-
an unbelievable player.
the bottom line here for the bottom line, it says, I just wish we saw the aggressive mindset more consistently. So it sounds like he may take plays off, but that can be
Amen.
coached out of you as well.
All right, we'll take Walter Nolan. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm
He's
definitely
there.
not touching Mike Green. I'm not touching anybody with any legal issues. I can tell you that.
No. All right, we do have an extra pick now, guys. We got 72 and 80.
Hell yeah. Let's look at those
So-
running backs, Sean.
Let's take a look. See, where's the RB? We got Scadaboo, Sampson, Johnson, Henderson, Judkins is still there.
Man, Judkins has fallen deep down these rankings.
I don't.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think those Ohio State
How
running
is
backs.
how is Scadaboo the top ranked running back available?
They
in this
love
draft? That's
Scadaboo, dude.
ridiculous.
I think Travion here.
Dude, but Scadaboo's not, he doesn't do anything that jumps off the tape. I mean, he's like a good football player, but he's not special in any way, shape, or form.
I see him as more of like
No.
a fullback.
Honestly,
Yeah, he's
I'd
just
be
a
fine
bruiser.
I'd be see if we can get RJ Harvey a little bit later, man.
Well, let's look at the what's available, Sean. Top players
Yeah, go to
available.
the overall.
Look at Harvey's last 2 years: 1,578, 1,400, 1417, almost 7 yards per carry, 6.5, almost. I mean, 22 touchdowns, 6. I mean, this guy's an absolute monster, dude. He's getting no respect in this draft, dude. I love.
Well, she's going to end up being the best running back in this draft.
Dude, he's so good, man. He's
Possible.
getting no love, man. Who'd you want? What other position you want to see?
I just want to see the best available.
Yeah, all
Best
together.
available: Winston, Lotz.
So Winston fits your needs. We already drafted a defensive tackle, so let's stay
So
away
does
from Locke
Xavier
this time.
Watts, and I honestly, I'd rather have Watts than Winston. That's just
Ooh.
me, though.
Jaden Higgins.
I
Jaden
love
Higgins is a
Jaden
nice
Higgins.
one.
You know that.
Well, you
Brothers
guys, we
Williams, I really
We're
love
up in
him.
2 picks too, guys. So we don't need to really overthink this.
Yeah, so let's go receiver running. Let's give Caleb Williams as much. Who's available to tackle? I'm assuming that Josh Connerly is
Offensive
gone.
tackle.
So
Ursar's still
yeah, but
there.
Ursary you could still get and probably
And you can get Tripolo too a little bit
you
later.
can get
on.
you can get Ursary in the next round probably. I'm gonna guess.
All right, so let's go. You said running back, wide receiver.
Yeah,
Well,
why not?
Well,
Let's
look-
go Travion.
all right, so let's look at the wide receivers and where their ranks are. So you got 51 and 55 in your ranks there. Let's look at the wide receivers. Where are their ranks? Let's see if we can get the best position of value. So there you go. Now you got wide receivers who are ranked 35, 37. So
Oh,
this is
God, give
this
me
is
some
better.
Jack
Than,
Beck.
come on, take Jack Beck. Let's do it. Let's take Jack Beck.
Love Jack Beck, dude. God, I love that kid.
Hell yeah.
Jaden Higgins went next.
You just
to the
got
Saints.
you just
I
got
was gonna
Caleb
say, that
Williams.
was my other guy.
I
You just
love
got-
Jaden Higgins too, man. Higgins and Beck to me might be the best two in this class, dude. They might
Hey,
work out to be.
what are they
They're
ranking
really
Williams at?
Good too. What's that, Jay?
What are they ranking Williams at?
Kyle,
Yeah.
they got him at 63.
109 is his average draft.
Wow, that's crazy.
Which Dustin
That's
said
awesome.
you,
The Bears
Dustin
can get
said
a
you
little
took
bit later.
Jack Beck over Jaden Higgins.
You said that?
Dustin.
Hey, look, it's a mock. I just
Yeah.
told you I love
If,
both of them.
in real life, I think the Bears would probably lean
Probably
towards
take
Higgins, but
Yes.
we know that Sean loves Jack Beck. It's just a mock. Let's have some fun with it. All right, Sean. Now we're looking at an offensive line here, right?
At 41,
I mean,
We probably should. We need
we now took a defensive tackle, a wide receiver. Should we go running back and then offensive line and with our next pick?
at 72.
What's available running back? Still the same guys, right? Pretty much.
Scadaboo, Sampson. Yeah, pretty much. We can.
All right, let's take
anyone
Judkins.
else.
Let's take Judkins for Dustin.
I want to talk to Samson.
All right, Dustin. We
I
just
like
took
Dylan
Judkins
Sampson
at
too, man.
41.
I love these running backs in this class this year, man. Jesus, they're so damn good. There's so many. Fantasy is going to be great. There's so many gosh darn people to choose from. You know, should we do Savania here?
Yeah,
Since,
yeah, absolutely. Well,
since
what's
he
his
was,
rank? Yeah, but that's a reach.
Salva Ayanea.
The reach. He's ranks 86.
Total
We're
of
at 72.
76. We're at 72. We do have pick 80.
Yeah, we have pick 80. So let's leave Jonah there. Let's see
Let's take a look at some safeties. Let's see if
What about a linebacker, guys? We need a linebacker bad.
what up, Crooked Commish.
Where is the linebackers? Let's see what's available at linebacker. Demetrius Knight's there at 52, man. Wow.
That's pretty good value.
He's an older player.
Oldest prospects. Yeah, I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know too much about Demetrius Knight.
Says he's great in coverage.
His all-out play style does come with over.
Sean, who was there at safety? Did you guys see? Did we? look at
Safety is a good pick too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need a safety. I
Yeah,
bet you M'Baku.
I mean, that would fit. That'd be more realistic for the Bears' needs.
Ooh.
Lathan Ransom is there. A lot of them went.
Yeah, I mean, and his rank is 89. That's a reach. I mean, you got to try to find the best value, right? I mean, that's.
I like to read.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I know every single one of these players in the draft. So,
Man.
Sean, Illinois Jones says, "Can you look at cornerback?"
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
there you go.
Safety. There's their corners.
Oh, so that's good value. He's ranked 64. Tyrion Porter. It's good value.
I don't know much about him either. I was as a wide receiver.
Turned cornerback with ideal ball skills. Ranks above the 95th percentile in height and length, and has an elite track background that translates to the field.
He's older too, man. He's going to be 25, dude.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to see that more often now with these NIL deals because why
Illinois
would you
Jones, what do you think? Crooked Commish, what do you
I
think?
say Kobe Bryant. Rock chalk.
Kobe Bryant. That guy was great in basketball.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Rest in pieces. And
who you got, Illinois Jones? You make your pick, buddy.
Jeez.
Helicopter crash.
What's Illinois Jones saying?
He says, I don't know.
We're going off track here, guys. Let's just pick. Listen.
Yeah, because we got to wrap this up,
And
dude. We got to.
I don't know what Dustin's saying here. He's saying his ball skills aren't as ideal as yours, Kyle. I don't know if that's like a.
Who's available at edge?
Oh, that's a good one. I do like Jared Wilson still being there, though.
Is Jack Campbell still available? Or not Jack Campbell?
Jack Sawyer.
Jack Sawyer, yeah. I like Jack Sawyer a lot, guys. You know that. I think he should be ranked way higher than 92.
You can probably get him. We can probably get him at 80.
All right. So what do you want now? You want to?
I like this kid too, Ashton Gillott from. I think this.
Yeah, we had ranked him pretty high.
Yeah, I actually just watched some film on him.
Well, shit. What are we gonna do here, boys?
Well, you need a safety, right? Whether you like it or not, whether the value is there or not, you need a safety. And it's not like Stewart's a huge reach, guys. I mean, he's ranked 76, we're at 72.
I mean, he is on one of the best defenses in the past, 10 years out of college.
Did Mason Taylor go at tight end?
Lathan Ransom? Oh yeah, now you're on safeties. I was going to say
Mason Taylor's way gone, dude.
Yeah.
Sean, go to Ransom. Can I see his bio?
I love Nate Latham Ransom.
Let me see his first look. Toughness. I like his tape for sure. The tape you put up on the safety show, Sean. He looked like an absolute beast. I haven't watched much of Ransom.
He's young too. He's only 28, 22. Going to be 23.
Well, let's make a decision.
Yeah, I say we take Ransom.
All right, we'll take Ransom. It's a little bit of a reach, but it's a position. It's a position of need.
And he could be better than his projection.
The last pick is 80. We can take your boy. I actually really like CJ West, dude. That's a steal.
Yeah, but
why is Norman Lott still on there? Does nobody love that guy?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Well, plus, didn't we already take a defensive tackle? I mean, I guess 2 would never hurt.
And we took Walter Nolan, Jack Back, Judkins.
You got a receiver, you got a running back, you got a safety. I think it's time to look at the offensive line.
Let's go see what's there at the interior and the tackle. Oh, we already got a tackle, did we?
No,
we didn't.
Not this one.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Jared Wilson, that's for sure.
So Jonah's gone, right?
And of course, they're rating all the tackles more than the guards.
I like Miles Frazier. I like Dylan Fairchild. I think there's some good value to be had later in this draft at Seth McLaughlin at 146. I mean, there's Logan Brown on Kansas. I'm not saying that because I'm a Jayhawk. I'm saying
Yes, you
Logan
are.
Brown-
Justin says Wilson
I
would
think-
be a good pick.
Who?
Wilson?
Jared Wilson.
Wilson?
I love Jared Wilson. Let's do it.
Giddy up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Dude, mark my words. Mark my words, dude. Logan Brown's going to be a solid player. I think he's going to move over to guard in the NFL, but he's going to be solid, dude.
This is not going to be as good of a grade, but
It's a B
it's a B minus. But I'd be happy with that draft, guys.
I'd be happy with
Yeah.
it.
Got a backup interior offensive lineman who could be starting in the future. You got a good safety in Latham Ransom. You got Quinshot Judkins, who Dustin
They
loves
give us
and
a
adores.
D
And
for
says he's
Quinshot
probably going to be
Judkins?
the best running back in the draft. Well, because they consider reach, there's 5 running backs left
Yeah.
ranked above him. You got Jack Beck, who Sean says could be end up being the best wide receiver in this draft. And then I don't think we even need to talk about Walter Nolan. That guy's going to be a beast for somebody in the NFL. Be awesome. if
I'll
it's
tell
the
you
Bears.
this.
That's another. That would be a great draft class for the Bears. You have added a lot of
If-
talent to this team.
I would
Yeah.
say this, Kyle, really quick. If the Bears were to get Jared Wilson and or Jake Majors from Texas, I would feel a lot better with an injury at the center position if we were to have one. I could say that. I would just feel a lot better about that. You need to back somebody up at this position, at that center position. It should be a top position of need for the Chicago Bears, 1,000,000%.
Justin
yes.
still says should have taken
Justin,
Higgins over Beck.
Dustin, you know I love Jack Beck, and you know I love Jaden Higgins. I love them both. We just took him this time. You
You gotta squeeze a white guy in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta have some white guys on the team.
gotta have our token white guy, man.
That was a diversity pick, Dustin.
As long as it's not a white cornerback, we'll be all right.
All right, boys, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to put a big fat bow on this show. But one more time, before
What a
we
fun
get
show,
out of
though,
here-
huh?
Yeah,
Well, it was a great show.
as always.
And don't forget, tomorrow, River Street Tavern, 102 North River Street. If you find me and say, I watched the Barely There, I watch House All Hangover, I watched the Bare Minimum, I'm going to buy your first beer. Just say you're a 4-star general and you got a beer on me. I know you watched the show if you tell me that. We got some Cubs tickets to give away, guys. Marlins and Giants. We got DJ Moore picks. We got Charles Tillman picks. Hampton, autographed ball at Cole Kmet. Hampton signed autograph, mini helmet, DJ Moore signed helmet. I mean, guys, we got so much going on tomorrow. We're going to get in the crowd. We want to interact with you guys, find out what you guys think of the pick before the Bears pick, find out what you guys think they should be doing. And we'll obviously have instant reaction. If there's a trade up to 5 or there's a trade back to 14, we're going to have instant reaction. We're going to be on
Yeah,
it.
and Sean, real quick, just before you guys get out of here, the 4starchicagosports.com website is up, guys. We're still doing some work on it, but if you guys want to get more in depth with us, or you guys want to see more of the stuff we put out, the blogs that we've been doing, especially Sean, he's been working hard on 4-Star Chicago Sports. There's an opportunity on our website to become. It's called the 5th Star Club. You guys will get unique articles only that the 5th stars can see. Nobody else can see them. It's a good way if you join our website, it's a good way for reach out for us, get in contact.
I thought
with
I was the
stars.
5th star,
Jason, you're one of the 4 stars, bro.
but there's 5 of us.
Yeah, it's there's 4 sports. There's 4 sports. You get the White Sox, man. You should be happy
Thanks.
about this.
I feel better now.
Jason's a part of the team, guys. He's been here for on this show
Uh,
consistently for the last. Well, Sean, Jason, how long you been here now?
It's been a while, dude. I was looking at
Yeah,
the
it's
old
been-
shows. I'm like, damn, it's been a couple of months at least.
Yeah,
Like
it's been 2 or
February?
3 months you've been here. Yeah.
Hey, and
Appreciate
before
you
we
joining
get out of here, really quick, I just want to say, man, cheers to a wonderful life for number 76, Steve Mongo McMichael. Rest in peace.
Mongo, love you, buddy.
We love you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you.
Prayers
And,
to his family, man.
prayers-
Misty and Macy.
He's got a daughter too. Yeah, prayers to
Misty and
everyone.
Macy, prayers. We'll keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and we'll send a big shout out to him.
Yeah,
Hopefully he'll be looking down with Walter tomorrow and getting us the best draft pick available.
Him and
Wally
Virginia.
B.
guys, we also want to give a shout out to Bruce, Breaking News Bruce. He got a couple
Thank you,
more
Bruce.
people on the show here today. We really appreciate the work
Love
he
you
does.
guys.
Thank you so much, Bruce. All of our new joiners, Mr. Maxwell. You guys help me out here. I'm trying to look for him here. I know there was 3 or 4
Oh,
of them.
Scrolls was
Yeah.
in there.
Scrolls, we appreciate you
Yeah.
joining us. Everybody who's joined Bear Weather Takes, who's obviously a friend of Bruce here on the show. We appreciate you guys, and obviously Illinois Jones, Dustin, Ant Mass, and Furious, Broski, all the usuals. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining us, Brandon. We look forward to the draft tomorrow, guys, and we will be on with you for a long time tomorrow night. So please, if you're in the area and you can, stop in at 102 North River Street. If you can't, we'll be live it's going to be a long show, guys. Please join us. Tune in when you can.
Have
hope
fun.
the Bears
Give to charity.
draft-
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Anything you want to get out there before you wrap up?
Shit, fuck Green Bay.
All right.
Fuck
yeah. Let's go.
Fuck
That'll
yeah.
Sorry, Kyle. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No worries, dude. Sean and I got a meeting to get to, so we're going to get out of here.
Yeah.
But appreciate you all. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Love you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Everybody.
all very,
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, guys.
And we'll
Take-
see you all tomorrow
Yeah.
for the official start for
Yeah.
me of the Ben Johnson era with his
Yeah.
new player.
Take care of yourselves so you can take
Yeah.
care of each other, guys. We appreciate you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, man.
Oh,
Bear
thank you.
down.
Pat
Bear
McAfee.
down.